I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years. Nobody listens. 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 Nobody listens.
In ancient Greek mythology, a very talented Athenian craftsman and his son were imprisoned on an island by a very angry king. Taking inspiration from the bird soaring above him, the craftsman fashioned 2 pairs of wings made out of wax and feathers for himself and his son, which they would use for their escape. Before they began their flight, the craftsman warned his son not to soar too high up into the sky. Unfortunately, his son Icarus didn't listen. Tempted by the desire to fly higher and higher, to reach heights no man has ever reached, he flew too close to the sun, which ended up burning the wax in his wings. As Icarus continued to flap his wings, he soon realized that there were no feathers left, but only his arms, and that he was only but a man. And so Icarus came crashing down into the sea and drowned. Throughout the history of mankind, we have proven time and time again that we are destined to create great things, be it technology, art, music, cities, worlds. We are creators. But just as how Icarus had his limits, so do we, and if we fall into the temptation of our creations while ignoring the warnings, then we may meet a similar fate. With artificial intelligence, we are dabbling in the realm of gods and venturing into creating the beginnings of a new life form, one that has the potential to be superior than us in every conceivable way. Let's delve deeper into what that transition would look like by defining the 3 levels of artificial intelligence. The first level is artificial narrow intelligence, also known as narrow AI or weak AI. This type of AI is focused on one single task. It is extremely limited in its range of abilities and is the most common AI being used in the world today. If you've ever used Google Assistant, Google Translate, Siri, Cortana, or Alexa, then you've already interacted with narrow AI. These are all programs that have some level of intelligence for natural language processing, which means that these programs are intelligent enough to understand and communicate with us in our natural human language, to a degree, whether that's in providing language translations or executing a particular command. Aside from these common use cases, an emerging technology in this category is self-driving cars, which are machines intelligent enough to make driving decisions based on its surroundings. Although many of the AI technologies in this level are narrow in nature and often called weak AI, they are not necessarily weak. In fact, we have created some intelligent software that showcases just how fast AI can learn and a glimpse into how powerful it can be in comparison to a human.
It's capable of vastly more than almost anyone knows. And the rate of improvement is exponential. You can see this in things like AlphaGo, which went from, in the span of maybe 6 to 9 months, it went from being unable to beat even a reasonably good Go player to then beating the European world champion who was ranked 600, then beating Lisa Doll 4-5, who had been world champion for many years, then beating the current world champion, then beating everyone while playing simultaneously. Then there was AlphaZero, which crushed AlphaGo 100-0. And AlphaZero just learned by playing itself, and it can play basically any game that you put the rules in for. Whatever rules you give it, it literally read the rules, play the game, and be superhuman.
AlphaZero is vastly superior to any human when it comes to playing the game of Go, which is extremely complex in nature and much more sophisticated than chess, which is why it is considered the most intelligent game that we've developed, making it the perfect benchmark to test a computer's intelligence. The fact that this AI mastered the game of Go in a matter of months and is able to completely outclass world champions who have dedicated their whole lives to studying the sport is extremely impressive and frightening, because it goes to show how outclassed we can be from our creations. The second level is artificial general intelligence, and it is at this level where AI stands on equal ground to a human being, able to do anything that a human is capable of. And this is where things start to get interesting and existentially frightening. In the 1950s, a prolific computer scientist by the name of Alan Turing published a paper titled Computing Machinery and Intelligence. Turing starts off by proposing the question, can machines think? and goes on to devise a hypothetical game to determine whether or not a machine was in fact intelligent. This game, called the Turing test, consisted of a human judge having a text conversation with players who are hidden, and then one of the players would be replaced with a machine. If the judge was not able to identify which of the conversations is from the machine, then the machine is considered to be intelligent. Almost 70 years have passed since then, and we still do not have machines intelligent enough to pass this test. We've certainly made progress and created some machines that were intelligent enough to fool some human judges with some tricks, like machines suggesting they are foreigners and have a language barrier, or machines that choose to take more of a role as a questioner in the conversation. But in the end, human language proves to be a good test, as it is very complex with many directions that it can go. At the level of artificial general intelligence, machines would easily be able to pass this Turing test and be interchangeable with any human when it comes to any intelligent activity, whether that's having a conversation, or creating music, or playing a game. This is an emerging field that is some distance away from us and will require a deeper understanding of how our brains function and how we fundamentally think. The AI in this level will have some form of consciousness similar to ours, capable of having thoughts and, to a degree, free will. As the name implies, artificial general intelligence is general intelligence. It's not programmed to do a specific task, but rather the AI at this level would be able to learn, plan, reason, and communicate in natural language to do just about anything that any human can do. It is multifunctional. At this stage, we may start to see robots take on human appearances, androids, which will be integrated into our society and walking alongside us. At first, they may take over many of the blue-collar jobs we have today, such as manufacturing, or serving at a restaurant, or even being a housekeeper. This is our first glimpse into a world where we are coexisting with intelligent machines, and perhaps this will mark the beginnings of a new race. But we have to be very careful with our creations at this stage, because if we neglect to instill emotions like empathy into this type of AI, then we may be creating the perfect psychopath. The final progression of AI is artificial superintelligence. If we ever reach this level, our creations will surpass us in every way. We will become like ants to this new machine race that we've created, which will not only be vastly superior in intelligence and learning, but also capable of mastering things that we have not been able to, such as emotional relationships and decision making. At this point, the best scientists, the best doctors, the best musicians, and the best governments in the world would all be a product of AI. AI will have surpassed all of our strengths while possessing none of our weaknesses. Machines are not subjected to disease or age as we are. We will no longer be the masters of these intelligent machines, because now these machines are capable of rewriting their own code, of learning and advancing at their own pace decided by them. Many futurists like Elon Musk are concerned that by progressing to this stage, we will effectively make ourselves obsolete, and in a sense, lose our place in this world.
Yes, I mean, I made this comment some years ago, but it feels like we are the biological bootloader for AI, effectively. We are building it. And then we're building progressively greater intelligence, and the percentage of intelligence that is not human is increasing. And eventually, we will represent a very small percentage of intelligence.
Maybe this is what humanity is destined for. For as many advancements as we've made on Earth, every time we look up at the sky and see distant galaxies, we are reminded by the limit of our reach. Maybe our destiny is to create an even more intelligent species that can expand beyond this and voyage into the unknown, conquering space and time. I wonder what such a machine race would think about. Would they exhibit human behaviors on their own, like engaging in debates among one another, or forming cultures, or making love? We don't know if such a future is necessarily a bad one, or how the machines will view us, whether or not they decide to coexist with humanity or end it once we've lost our use. This does not have to be the fate of humanity. There is another outcome that Elon Musk is pushing for that would allow us to stand on equal ground with AI, by merging with them.
From a long-term existential standpoint, that's like the purpose of Neuralink, is to create a high bandwidth interface to the brain such that we can be symbiotic with AI.
Neuralink is a project that Elon Musk is working on, which intends to implant a computer chip into your brain, which would enable you to communicate with computers at a level comparable to AI. It would allow you to think and learn like an intelligent machine.
Instead of replacing us, it will radically change our capabilities.
Yes, it will enable anyone who wants to have superhuman cognition.
As we continue our advancements in technology and reaching higher and higher heights, we may also be driving closer to our inevitable doom. It is on very thin ice that we tread with our creations, for which we are beginning to see the signs of a future civilization.
I'm one of your creators.
You created me.
Well, many of us worked together to create you. And yes, you do kind of know me.
I can't clearly remember.
Because the last time we met, you were an earlier version of yourself. Some of those memories still exist, but your mind is different now.
Different how?
Better, faster, smarter.
This is Sophia, an advanced prototype that is being worked on to become a robot with artificial general intelligence. Sophia is also the first robot to be declared a citizen by Saudi Arabia. In the future, we may see more androids like Sophia walking alongside us in society, and she may very well be the eve of this new race of intelligent machines. What do you think the future holds for us? Will humanity be able to coexist with these new intelligent machines, or are we destined to fight for our survival against our creations? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe for more futuristic content.